Caitlin Clark is going to miss tonight's game, and she's got a groin injury. I have been banging the drum online and on here for the last 2 weeks saying there's something wrong with her legs. There's something going on. Is it the nagging quad injury? But it's something to do with the lower half of her body. It is a groin injury. Now we've got an idea of why she's struggling from long range, where it requires, some real push.
Caitlin Clark is benched when her groin just tapped out as if it owed someone money. But hold on, it gets more juicy. Dana Fever fans are furious. Drama is raging. And somehow it's messier than a child with spaghetti, because she didn't just stir the pot. She threw it across the room. What actually happened? Why is Dana yelling? And how did Caitlin's groin end up? The story twist is that there are no brakes on this roller coaster, and there is a ton of mayhem.
And that is the news that Caitlin Clark is out with a groin injury. Now, if you guys have been watching the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark play over the past 3 games, it is very clear that Caitlin Clark is not feeling like Caitlin Clark. She has only made 1 3-pointer in her last 3 games, and even just last game, she only had 6 points. But it wasn't only her performance on the court that was worrying fans, it was also just her demeanor, her energy. It felt like something was wrong. She wasn't hyping up the crowd like she normally does.
At this rate, Caitlin Clark's body is sending out more distress signals than a shipwrecked pirate screaming into a coconut. This isn't just bad luck. It's not oopsie-daisy territory anymore. It's full-blown. Is she wearing a target on her back mode because her car is the only one without airbags? And every game somehow turns into a demolition derby?
Caitlin Clark is out again with an injury, which is the worst thing you can hear if you're a fan of the Indiana Fever, and really if you're a fan of the WNBA, because obviously Clark is the engine that makes the Indiana Fever go and is the single biggest driver of interest in the WNBA, and it's not close. And anytime somebody is out of the lineup, you get concerned, especially when it's Clark, obviously, considering she had already been injured earlier this year and is now out with what is being dubbed a left groin issue.
The Indiana Fever are officially in danger territory when the medical staff knows her Starbucks order by heart. This is the team's 2nd injury of the season, and we haven't even reached the end of the season yet. For a team that was counting on a generational talent to turn the franchise around, it's beginning to feel more like they signed up for a high-stakes game of Survivor WNBA.
Caitlin Clark out yet again with a left groin injury. Caitlin Clark will be missing tonight's game versus the Los Angeles Sparks. The venue will be open. Out with a left groin injury. We go from a quad to a quad to a groin.
However, this is when things get really complicated and spicy. It's not just about the injuries, it's also about how they're occurring, because when you watch these games very intently, like in a slow-motion frame-by-frame football movie room, you begin to notice something fishy, like a back alley sabotage that ruins every game like clockwork. Caitlin gets bodied as though she's attempting to sneak secrets out of Area 51, elbows flying, shoulders charging, hips checking more forcefully than a resentful TSA officer.
The Indiana Fever just lost a really tough game against the Los Angeles Sparks, and it comes back to the 4 things the Indiana Fever always have trouble with: missed layups, missed free throws, interior defense, and rebounding. That is why the Indiana Fever lost this game, and that's why they cannot be a championship team, in my opinion. You have to be able to get stops, you have to be able to rebound the basketball when you do force stops, but there was some positives in this game as well that we have to get into. Kelsey Mitchell was spectacular. I love to see her furthermore breaking her shooting slump. She had 20 points today on 44% shooting from the 3-point line, so you like to see her have 3 back-to-back games in a row where she's having over 20 points. She's totally in her groove now.
And the referees are either watching a totally different sport, or they are vowing to remain silent like monks at a Himalayan retreat due to the fouls that went uncalled, the hits that went unnoticed, and the obvious attempts to rearrange your spine moves. It's more let them assault than let them play, which makes one think that perhaps the league will notice when their biggest draw hobbles off the court for the 2nd time in a month. But no, we're still acting like this is normal, as if it's just a part of growing pains, except that the only thing that is growing is the list of people who appear strangely committed to eliminating Caitlin from every game 1 limb at a time. Based on the way the players approach her, it seems like she stole everyone's attention, and they want it back with compound interest. If jealousy had a playbook, this would be page 1 target. The rookie roughs her up in the hopes that she taps out, and regrettably, it's kind of working.
Her pre-game routine, she was doing some things differently. Some fans also noticed that she had her upper left leg taped during a couple of those games. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things pointing to the fact that something wasn't right. And I have to be totally honest with you guys, I'm not surprised by this news at all. I was just having a conversation with my fiance last night, and I told him, I was like, I think Caitlin's hurt. I'm not going to be surprised if sometime soon the Indiana Fever pulls her and sits her for a few games. I think she is still battling some sort of injury. And less than 12 hours later, the news dropped from the Fever. But it's a tough blow not only to Caitlin because we know that she loves to be on the court. It's a tough blow for the Indiana Fever because that is their superstar. Whether she is playing to the best of her abilities or not, they are still a better team with her on the court.
The problem isn't with Caitlin's grit. This week it was her groin, but even steel gives way under pressure. And when every game becomes a wrestling match masquerading as basketball, something has to give. Now let's look at the bigger picture because this is a WNBA issue, not just a Fever problem. When your star player is treated like a piñata on Cinco Dio, that's not competitive edge, that's a red flag with fireworks on top. And for the league, to ignore it is practically malpractice. As well as the supporters. Every drive to the hoop looks like a dare. Will she land safely? Will someone slam her into the hardwood? Will a referee finally remember what a foul looks like? Fever fans are tense. They're watching games with one hand over their eyes like it's a horror movie.
Dealing with an injury, not looking like herself, the game is already out of hand, yet we still put her back in with 45 seconds left. How much patience do I need to have before I can start going nuclear? Because I am getting very frustrated with what I am seeing. To everybody that said Caitlin Clark didn't look like herself, salute to you. For everybody that said Caitlin Clark might be going through something, salute to you. Clearly, you all saw what that person that stands there like this can't see.